Hey guys, welcome to the 5th edition of the Culture Watch Africa. My name is Onismos Haruna and it's great having you guys on this very edition. Now, as you know, I always come around with a lot of goodies for you, including our very entertaining segment of the program. And we cannot forget our beat for this week from the Cyprian Equincy Center for Arts and Culture right here in Abuja, Nigeria, West Africa.
The gallery doesn't do just with the painting, it is diversified.
But before all that, we must address our primary matter, and that's the threat to the African culture and some of the factors that contribute to Afro-cultural extinction. First, we'll talk about the Pentecostal Christian pastors waging war against their own African culture inside Africa. We identified a particular pastor who said,
"There is no such thing as African culture. Now that you're a Christian, don't promote it."
Then we saw Mr. Harry Agina's response to Pastor Chris Oyakhilome's comments. Among other things, he called it Afro-cultural treason.
You see, sometimes certain things you want to say, you want to describe, there are just some words that are apt for them. So, unfortunately, I have to use a word that will sound like insulting Oyakhilome, but I can't help. There's no nicer way of putting it other than to say that he is very sociologically ignorant.
And of course, we brought you some views of other Africans on the matter.
I speak as a Muslim, and in a way it's becoming a little bit comedic when you listen to some of these pastors.
It springs from some kind of ignorance.
And before the advent of Christianity, Africans in their various regions had their ways of interaction that goes beyond their belief system.
Culture is the summation of a people's way of living.
You can't tell me that there's no African culture. There's no human being on earth that doesn't have a culture.
Before Christianity exists, there's African culture.
Now, guys, if you recall, because I know I recall and I remember, and I'm sure you also remember, a couple of weeks ago, I promised I was going to give us a follow-up on the stance of the Catholic Church with regards to Oyakhilome's Afro-cultural treason. Yeah, and guess what, guys? Today is that day. Archbishop Kaigama's interview was a long one, covering several topics, including tithes, the commercial ancestral curse fallacy, paddled by Pentecostal Christian pastors in Africa, and the position of the Catholic Church on African traditional religions. I'll be giving us what the Catholic Church thinks with regards to Pastor Chris Oyakhilome's cultural treason in a bit. And now, guys, this is Harry Agina with the Archbishop of the Abuja Archdiocese, His Grace Ignatius Kaigama.
Your Grace, it's wonderful meeting you finally. And I'm so happy you found time for us.
Good.
Thank you very much. All right, sir. We are of the argument that every culture in the world is legitimate and good. Every single one of them also has flaws. They have good and bad, like in everything else. A Pentecostal Christian pastor, Chris Oyakhilome, said there is no such thing as African culture. He went as far as saying that it's witchcraft, it's evil. Your Grace, what would you say to Chris Oyakhilome or anybody who says that their African culture doesn't exist, or there is nothing like African culture, or that the African culture is terrible, devilish, or evil?
Every set of human beings, they have a culture. Culture is the tradition, the beliefs, the practices that are passed on from one generation to another. It is absolutely certain that every human being made by God and planted on this earth has a culture. So to say Africa doesn't have a culture is quite very surprising, because everybody, black or white, they could be living in the forest, in the Amazon, in the Sambisa forest. They have a culture. And even the name that pastor you quoted bears, Oyakhilome, it is a traditional Nigerian name. So for me to hear that there is no African culture is what I call a hasty generalization. And perhaps one is so taken up by the newfound Christian faith that you tend to ignore or even demonize the culture that we have been practicing ever before the arrival of Christianity. Human beings God made are categorized according to cultural practices, according to cultural norms, and I enjoy it to see people dancing, to see people speaking their language, to see the various cultural elements that people exhibit, and that is what the Catholic Church encourages. Faith is built on culture. If you don't have faith in the vacuum, even Christianity as it came, Jesus had to, kind of penetrate a particular culture, the Jewish culture. And that was what gave us Christianity. He adopted so many things, went into their pre-existing temple and brought up new things. The marriage he attended in Cana was a cultural practice. He went there and so on. So I think it will be too hasty to say because I have accepted Christianity, my culture does not exist. That was the mistake the early missionaries made. I know in my village, I come from Taraba State, and in a village called Kona, the first foreign missionaries that came told my people that they didn't have to practice their culture. They stopped them from dancing the traditional dances they are used to. They stopped them from taking more than one wife. They stopped them from drinking their local beer, which was a source of nourishment for them. And I tell you, they didn't go far because the people rebelled against them. They had to flee at a certain point because they violated the whole thing that makes that people who they are. And so that is what will result to, if you have such pastors preaching, Africans have no culture. They are no different from the people, anthropologists of those who came and believed that Africans have no culture. They had come to teach us. So God said the Benin culture, the Yoruba culture, the Hausa culture and all that, they're so rich that we can teach the world a lot through our culture. It's biblically rooted, but it is subject to abuse.
Truly, Pastor Oyakhilome's position against his own African culture is pure Afro-cultural treason. Even the dancers, the dancing, African music and dance, he condemns them.
Have you ever seen what they call African dance? Looking like wizards on TV.
Truly unbelievable. I mean, music and dance are integral parts of the African culture for kingdom sakes. Virtually nothing happens in Africa without some music and dance. And Pastor Oyakhilome
An African disgracefully mocks Afro-cultural performers that way.
So now it's time for today's bit of our tour of the Cyprian Equincy Center for Arts and Culture right here in Abuja, Nigeria.
All right, here is another section in the gallery. The gallery doesn't do just with the painting. It is diversified. Like we have 5 main sections where works are derived from. We exhibit in the gallery. So one of the major sections is the sculptural section. The sculptural section deals with the hardened artworks we see. The works that are strong, like they could be in form of stone, metal, wood, fiberglass, bronze, like what you can see bronze, the one I'm having here that is depicting the Nigerian maize. So these are all under the sculptural aspect of art. The end product of every art is for communication, to pass message. They don't have mouth, but they speak volume. Example of one of these sculptural art, I just picked one piece now that looks like a trophy, that looks like a World Cup. And what does World Cup do? It brings people from different places to fight for one goal. So now this is the power of unity. This is the trophy that people are looking for. Like this is depicting the Hausa man here in the country, the Yoruba man, and the Igbo man. They are all called to patriots. We have over 250 ethnic groups in Nigeria and over 750 indigenous spoken languages in Nigeria. But out of these 250, there are 3 major. Those other ones are peripheral to this major. So this major includes the Hausa, the Igbo, and the Yoruba. So we have used this one as a symbol of unity to unite both under 250 ethnic groups that are peripheral to this single piece. This is just a wood. My grandma ordinarily will say, go to the bush, get a wood, and then let's use it as a firewood. And then it gets burnt. If you go to the bush to scavenge for this or buy it outside, it may be 100 naira. But now value has been added to that wood, using it to pass message, using it as a piece for information, using it to create a peaceful peace for the society. Now this can be sold without fear or favor, 30,000 naira. You see, because value has been added.
Now it's time for Afro-cultural infotainment, where we inform you through entertainment. Our piece for today is music and dance.
We are going outside the main Africa to the diaspora. We are bringing you a tutorial Afro-cultural music and dance session of Africans in the Caribbean. Tobago, to be exact. It's called Congo Belly, and I'll let you hear about it from the expert, Miriam Scott of Tobago in the Caribbean. Here we go.
And now we are going to present the Congo Belly. The Congo Belly was created by my uncle, Mr. Henry James. The Congo Belly was created at the village of Patience Hill. This dance was created from his vision of a particular woman that lived at Patience Hill. She was known as T. Beauty. Beauty Douglas was her name. He would have admired the way she carried herself as a Congo woman living in Tobago. He would have visioned the slave trade from that passage, the middle passage, to the Caribbean. He would have envisioned the costume was designed, and in this particular Congo Belly, whereas in the other French Belly style where the skirt or dress has a slit to the front, the Congo Belly carries no slit to the front. A long apron is worn, which is symbolic to the stature of that woman. A head wrap is worn, depicting her royalty as Queen of the Congo Belly. And unlike the French-influenced ballet, where you wait on La Reine Rêvée as the queen of the ballet dance, Congo Ballet, all the dancers are queen of the Congo Ballet. My name is Miriam Scott, and I'm one of the original dancers when this dance was created. The Congo Ballet carry a particular type of posture. The rhythm, as any Afro-Caribbean rhythm, is very pulsating, very energetic. I'm going to call Miss Kami just to demonstrate the posture of the Congo Ballet. And in that, ballet is flat back. So it's that sitting position of the Congo Ballet. If I could have the other dancers just taking up that posture, you all can do to the front as she does to the side. Mr. James' instruction of the Congo Ballet: flat back, right foot placed in front, and there is a tapping movement. So on the introduction of the drum, there's a similar movement of a jig movement in ballet, where you go over 1, 2, 3, 4, and turn 2, 3, 4. Why that frame in the Congo Ballet? It tells of the history of our African women who are hard workers in the field, who also, most time when you see the African woman on the plantation working, she has her baby on her back if she's a mother. Again, the movement with the skirt lifted and it comes down, it shows the strength of the Congo woman. That movement is symbolic to the status of the African woman, and that she can work and operate at any level. She can operate up and she can operate down to get the work done. And next side.
We have come to the end of this very edition of the Culture Watch Africa. My name is Onismos Haruna, and of course it's been an amazing time having you guys here with me on this very edition. Till I come your way again on the next edition, don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and also on our TikTok handle. You can join our live on TikTok. And then guys, don't forget about our Afroscope site, that is afro-scope.com. Check it out for amazing, entertaining things. I'll be giving us Archbishop Kayagama's comments one bit at a time. On the next edition, he'll be talking to us about sites and Pentecostal pastors who hustle on the altar.